Hey guys, my name is Kayla. I am 29 years old. I'm wanting to share my story with you guys about my son Noah. He was diagnosed on the spectrum, the autism spectrum, April 2021. I noticed Noah had some delays. At first, when he was 7 months, he would say mama, and he started developing normally, and then he retracted. So when Noah retracted, he stopped saying mama. He wouldn't respond by his name. There was a lot of things, like a lot of red flags that I noticed. And so we lived in New Jersey at that time, and we moved to Illinois. And once we moved to Illinois, Noah's doctor sent him for speech therapy and other therapies. I think it was speech, developmental therapy, and later on they added occupational therapy on. So Noah did three therapies per week. He did Wednesdays he had occupational therapy, Thursdays he did developmental, and then Fridays he did speech. This was every week. And Noah wasn't really progressing within the time frame that they thought that he would. He started to do a lot of spitting, playing with spit. He did a lot of things that were not typical in a 1-year-old. He did everything physically on time. So he walked on time. He didn't crawl. He kind of he skipped that phase. But physically, Noah was developing normally, went up and down stairs at the right time. Everything physically was fine. It was more mentally that was difficult for him, like communicating, just talking, all kinds of that kind of things. I noticed I started reading a lot about like his development. I started reading where he was at and where he should have been. And I'm the one who kept on pushing doctors to get him where he needed to be. Like, hey, he needs to be evaluated. And they kept pushing it off like, oh, he's still young. You're probably just looking into it too much. And I'm like, no, I can feel it. Something's wrong. I have another girl who's 10 years old. My daughter, was very different. She talked like at a year, she was already saying a lot of words. By 2, she was already like talking paragraphs. And I just noticed so many delays in Noah. And I thought sometimes, well, he's typical, he's normal. He's growing up fine, nothing's wrong. And then other weeks, sometimes he would retract again, and I would feel down and feel like, oh my God, something's wrong. And just wanting him to be diagnosed already made me feel better, because then I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew I wasn't just seeing things. I just wanted to know exactly what did Noah have. So months went by. I think he was like a year, maybe a year and 8 months, and the doctor said, okay, let's send him for an evaluation at EIU. EIU does like, they have this autism center and they provide therapy, they evaluate. So Noah was like maybe a year and 5 months or a year and 8 months. I can't remember for sure. And I remember the therapist that he had were 2 students at EIU. They do a whole thorough process, like a whole evaluation. And they did a really good job. I was just in a bad place where I was just like, I felt like everyone thought I was crazy. So they told me, oh, he does so many good things. And instead of me looking at that positive feedback that he was doing good things, that Noah had potential to learn, I was just in this negative space where I was like, no, something's wrong and you guys are not seeing it and I'm seeing it. And I got really offended by them telling me that he had potential and that he was doing good, because I wasn't seeing that. I was just seeing where he was retracting and where he was delayed, and it wasn't fair to the therapist that I kind of snapped. I was like, no, you guys are crazy. I'm not crazy. Something's wrong. And so his therapist, she explained it to me. They recommended, maybe 3 months later, I got the report that they did find the delays, but that he also had a lot of functioning, like motor functions, and I was just really going through a lot of emotions. It was really hard to process, but at the same time, like, I was learning to accept that it wasn't bad that he had autism. It wasn't negative. I started seeing the positive sides to it. I started learning how to come into his world and learning how to be like him so that he can feel more comfortable. So they recommended speech. So he started doing speech and EIU on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Wednesdays he did occupational, Thursdays he did developmental, and then Fridays he did speech. So he had 3 days of speech a week, and this was weekly for until he was 3. When he was 3, they made early what's it called, it's EIP, it's early intervention. It ended because he turned 3, so now they were recommending him for preschool. So they have a program where if in preschool you're evaluated, and once you turn 3, if you qualify, you can get in. To qualify, you have to be either, I believe it's like you have to meet certain criteria, but if you have a certain disorder, disability, or a certain diagnosis, they definitely take that in consideration, and a lot of times you qualify automatically, but they still do that evaluation. So Noah qualified, and he went to preschool, and I was terrified. Me and Dad were super terrified that he was gonna freak out, or they weren't gonna watch him, or something bad was gonna happen. But Noah just learned more and more, and it was incredible to see his transition to school, his transition to starting to go on the bus by himself, learning how to be independent and go to school and learn how to be friends with other kids really helped him a lot. So Noah turned 3, started school. When, like, about 3 weeks later, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try the school bus. And he loved it. He loved it so much that Saturdays and Sundays was difficult to explain. There's no school. So then Noah started learning how to read. When I say he learned how to read, it wasn't that he really was sounding out the letters. It's not that he was really reading. It's that he was memorizing the words. Every time we wrote them and he watched them, he just memorized them. So anytime he would see them, I believe it was mommy, daddy, grandma, grandpa, go. It was like 9 words in total that he just read them every time he saw them. And I was like, wow, he knows how to read. That's crazy. But then I just kept on like watching him, and I'm like, oh, he's memorizing it. He has like this amazing brain. I guess it's like photographic almost. Like I was just amazed. So Noah, ever since he was about 2, he started saying words. He started saying small words, and he started memorizing YouTube videos that he watches, phrases that he hears in songs. He memorized a lot of planets. He knew planets that I didn't even know existed because I learned them because of him. He knew a whole bunch of shapes like pentagon, hexagon, octagon, nonagon. Like, I didn't even know any of these shapes, and he knew them. He knew all the ABCs. He would sing them in other languages that I didn't even know he was singing them until I would hear him and watch the video at the same time. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like he's singing that in a different language. He did so many things that were amazing, but then he was delayed in so many other things that he should be knowing. But it's just his focus wasn't on those skills. His focus was on other things. And it's been really interesting, really fun to watch him learn. But anyways, now school's done. It's summertime and he's learning that he doesn't go to school now and he has to wait. And he hasn't mentioned it. He's doing really good with transitioning. He's doing really well. And I'd say that maybe 80% or 70% is because of therapy. Therapy has really helped Noah so much, and not every parent can do that, where they focus on taking their kids to therapy because we need to work. We need to work to provide, because if we don't work or provide, like, how do we live? And so not every parent has a support system where they can say, I'm gonna stop working and focus on my child who needs therapy. That's really hard. It's easier when they come to your house and you try to rearrange your schedule. But that's what I did. I was out of work for about a year. And that's how we did it. We got him to where he's at now. And I'm really grateful for all the amazing therapists that he's had, all the amazing people here. Everyone is so nice and they've helped Noah so much. Dad, in January, I went back to work. And Dad took over, and Dad is doing amazing. And I'd say that since Dad took over, somehow Noah has learned so much more. He now has learned how to do certain requests. He requests for milk, cookies. He can tell you with one word what he wants. And right now, to me, that's enough. And even though we are going for more, and our goal is for him to give us a sentence or communicate with us about a theme or anything. Right now, I am so proud of Noah for being able to say, I want milk, or milk. Just milk is enough for me, because that's what I always told the therapist. That's what I want to focus on. I want him to learn so many things, but that's my focus. And that's what you have to do, is give yourself one goal. And even though therapy works and it's amazing, we need to incorporate therapy at home for it to keep working. So what you learn with that therapist, you watch them, the way they treat them, and you want to be the same at home so that therapy can continue to be worked on. So even though Noah wants something, if he's not requesting it in some kind of way, I don't give it to him. So I try to get at least a word or a sign or pointing, something that will tell me I want this. Noah just recently started learning to understand, like, give me the bottle. Sometimes I do have to ask him about 10 times, and that's okay. I just keep on being consistent and, hey, give me the bottle. And if he doesn't understand, I'll grab his hand, take him to it, put it in his hand and give it to me, just so that he can understand that's what that means. And he has really understood so much recently that it makes me want to cry. Like, I can't believe how much he's doing. And for any other normal parent, like any parent with a typical kid, that's normal for them. Like, oh, I tell my 2-year-old to give me that all the time. But for us, who our kid has any kind of disability, any kind of delay, that's hard. And that's like a very big goal. That's something that someone, like, it warms our heart when our child who didn't understand a few months ago can give you something that you just asked them to do. Like, oh, give me that toy. But I'd like to tell you guys more about Noah and Zoe. I might bring them into my video next time. If you want more information, I'm gonna keep uploading videos. I'm gonna keep giving you guys little stories and details about Noah. There's so much more, but if I keep telling you guys, like, this video is going to be 20 hours long. This channel is going to be focused on two things. I want it to mostly be focused on my process with Noah, what I've done to get him where he's at now. I told you guys the basics. I'm trying now to get to a point where I work from home, just because it makes it easier for me to get Noah to therapy, and to get a lot of things that I'm trying to do, a lot of new projects with Noah that I want to get to. And to do that, I need to work from home. So I'm actually starting to be a virtual coach. If you guys do want more details about that, you can always email me. I'll be putting all my information down below. You guys can email me. Send me a message in the comments. I can give you more information about it. But yeah, this is what I'd like to start. And I hope you guys all have a great week.